Guys, we got to rewind a second here. So we've been talking about Dominick Cruz and Chito Vera. All right, let's stay right here. Chito Vera became a star. I mean, that is one thing that happened over the weekend. That's one thing that's always been hurting Chito. Chito is the only guy to beat Sean O'Malley prior to the review of the Sugar State Athletic Commission. But he doesn't have the same pop. He doesn't have the same bounce. He's not in the same spot. He's not viewed the same as Sean. Imagine being in that spot. And imagine you're the only guy that beat a guy, but that guy gets more credit or makes more money or is looked at more fondly than you. Imagine being in that spot. And nobody's over until they're over. There's just a thing. It's not about wins and losses. There's something else that makes you a star. It's not 10 wins. It's not 10. There's something else that does that. Okay, it happened for Chito. Chito's now there. So is Chito the number one contender? If you look at a calendar, I don't know. The calendar and the dates are the only thing that's kind of in Chito's way right now. How long does Chito want to wait? How long can he keep this fire going? Right? Success is something that people have to be reminded of often because they forget. A week from now, as great as Chito looked, it's not going to be as good. A month from now, as great as Chito appeared, it's going to go down. It's just one of those things. To stay busy and stay active, but we thought that we had been successful in identifying Chito and even juxtaposing that against Sean versus Jon if Sean wins. Where's it going to go? But there's another match. Merab is getting ready to take on Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is in an extremely rare position within this sport where he is an inspiration. That's not a word I get to use very often. Something's inspiring. Somebody being an inspiration. Their journey, their path, their goal, their quest. It's interesting. And I'm right when I say that. People are watching Jose very careful. Now, Merab has had so many victories, done everything so perfect since his night in there with Ricky Simone, which is about 4 years ago, that Aljo Sterling himself, who's his training partner, who's his corner man, who's his very good friend, Aljo himself is saying Merab gets the title fight if he wins. I'm probably going to leave the division. I don't want to fight my friend. I mean, when the champ starts saying, this is the guy, it doesn't matter if they're buddies. If the champ co-signs that you're the guy, it gives you a big push. And Merab can't go on and be overlooked. That's not fair. Just because he doesn't have a command of the language where he can come out and really get his message out, it's not fair over a period of time. That has to be considered, but also look at his opponent. Jose Aldo is on one quest, one mission. It's to win the championship. Jose Aldo's next fight could be his last fight at any time. If Jose is sincere, and I personally believe him to be, that I am only here for one last run at the championship, that is it, nothing else, then anywhere where he gets detoured, anywhere where he gets defeated, would take him off that track, and he could be done. We might have seen our last of Dominick Cruz for that same reason. So there's other fights to look at 35, is what I'm suggesting for you, is what I'm reminding for you. Now, not great. Not great news that Merab and Jose, which I'm very interested in, I think you can tell that by what I just said. Meaningful fight. And I really mean that sincerely. I think you can tell that from what I just said. I just found out today that they're fighting Saturday. That's not good. I should have known that these two were up. I should have known that this was coming. I should have heard 20 different times from Jose Aldo, and he doesn't have to call me directly. It should come into my orbit. I live in this space, on the manias, the junkies, the elbows. I'm on all of it all day. I'm typing back and forth with Akamoto and Ramondi and Helwani. It's one of these Ioli, and we're going back and forth. It should have got to me. 20 times just from Jose. I should have got it another 20 times from Merab. I then should have got it 50 times from you. Truly. It's not good news. What do you want to do with that? And as fans, we get in a position where we enjoy calling for somebody's end. There's an evil side there that we don't like to admit. There's something about that that is compelling. People are doing that for Dominick Cruz now. I am also open to hearing from Dominick that he's never going to do it again, but not for the same reasons. I had predicted for you guys as soon as that fight was over. Okay, let me remind you how I watched Dominick's fight. I'm watching the fight, my TV cuts out, so then I've got to go to bloodyelbow.com and read along. But the gentleman, I watched 3 rounds. I get cut off completely in between the rounds. I don't ever get to see another minute, but I saw 3 fully completed rounds all the way to the bell. I believe that Dominic goes up 3-0. I'm also aware that within our sport, it has been debated from the beginning of time how we're going to score a knockdown. So, I know that the judges have the ability to be giving some favor to Vera, who had 2 clean knockdowns. But I still think Dominic's up 3-0. The gentleman that is giving the play-by-play on the .com has Vera up 2-1. Going into the 4th is 2-1 Vera. Go, well, we're seeing something different here, but I can't assure you that he's wrong because you do have the knockdowns. Okay, I've got the official answer now. The official judges' cards have come out. They've come to my orbit. Dominic was winning 2-1. I bring that to you because every other fight on that very same card is over at that point. They all fought 15 minutes. That's it. They were all scheduled for 3 rounds. That's it. So doing the same thing in the same place any other time on that same exact night, Dominic won. And people are calling for him to be done. I am open to the idea of Dominic deciding the path and the road and the likeliness back to championship glory isn't the same as it was a week ago, and therefore I'm done. I'm not open at all to the idea that the skills of Dominic Cruz or the style of Dominic Cruz is somehow gone. The speed was there. The power is there. The ability to mix it up, right? That's what all those punches on the feet and takedowns with control is about. He's as good as he's ever been, but you get 5, 6, 8, you get 10 guys. Very common. NCAA, we see this all the time. The Olympics, we see this all the time, where the top 10 guys, it's any given Sunday. And if you do it, and then you do it again, it's going to be musical chairs. You're going to have completely different results. That's what good competition is all about. That isn't to say that Dominic should have beaten Cheeto. Right? You don't get to do that. And I know a lot of people like to do it. It's a 5-round cut. Yeah, but if it was only 3, maybe something changes. I'm well aware of the whole thing. But he did take a kick that nobody else could have taken. He did dip. I mean, everything went wrong in a half of a second. From dipping to hands down to the foot coming up, it was one of these spots. So where Cheeto goes, where Dominic goes, very much up in the air. Merab, who's done everything right, taking on Aldo, who's on a quest for one thing. I should have known this fight was going to happen, guys. I should have made you 5 videos by now. I should have tweeted and talked about it. We should have been debating, is this the #1 contenders fight? Everything about it's perfect. Everything about their stories is perfect. Everything about it is in line. But if you don't tell it right, it's that old adage, if a tree falls in the wood and nobody's hears it, doesn't make a sound. That's very real. Time's ticking. Time is running out. These stories are powerful. If you don't do something with it, it's not on us. It's on you. You've got 2 days.